I think the main thing that I don't like about trucking, from the perspective of looking at it as a business model, I think the main thing I don't like about it is how trucking is basically like a commoditized business model. I think that's the main thing that I don't like about trucking. Now, don't get me wrong. Trucking has been good to me in the time that I've been out here. I've been a truck driver for almost 8 years now. 5 years I drove for someone, my dad, in the last 2 years, almost 3 years now in April 2024. That will be 3 years driving for myself. But I've been involved in a few other businesses as well. And so, like, normally when I look at an opportunity, I'm looking at it from the business model perspective, right? And I think the main thing that I see as a drawback, a major drawback in trucking, is the fact that it operates as a commodity business model. And what I mean by that is, when a consumer or an end user or a client or whatever you might want to call them, when they look at two products and they're trying to decide which product we want to go with, and they're looking at two products that both have similar features and similar benefits, typically the client, the customer, the end user is going to go with the cheaper product. That is how a commoditization business model operates. If you want to know more about that, just Google that term, commoditization business model, and you can dig into it a little bit more. But like, from looking at trucking as a business from like a 30,000 foot perspective, that is the conclusion that I've arrived. That's the main thing I don't like about this business model. Like, when I used to sell vacuum cleaners, when I speak about selling vacuum cleaners, I sold vacuum cleaners for 15 years. I sold high-end vacuum cleaners, and I wasn't just the guy that sold the vacuum cleaners. I was the guy that trained people how to sell vacuum cleaners. I had my own office. So, like, when people bought a vacuum cleaner from me or from my office, the main distinguishing factor, or the main reason why they bought from me, was not because they didn't feel that they could get it cheaper from somewhere else. The main reason they bought vacuum cleaners from me is because I had a differentiating factor, or at least they perceived that I had a differentiating factor. One of the main things that customers would want to know, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, they wanted to know if I was going to be around to be able to service the vacuum cleaner that they just bought from me in the future if it broke down, or if I was going to be around to be able to sell them bags and shampoo and other parts that the vacuum cleaner took, if I was going to be around. So like to me, those are two distinctly different business models. One operates on like differentiation, and one operates on being commoditized, on being the cheapest, on being the lowest. And it seems, from my perspective, you guys that know about trucking as a business model, and you've got other business models to compare it to, feel free to correct me on this if I'm wrong down in the comments, or to validate what I'm saying as far as this down in the comments. But to me, that is, generally speaking, how you secure work in trucking. You have to be in line with what the market will pay. You have to almost essentially look to be, the cheapest one that's willing to do the work. Some friends of mine, we were talking yesterday about bidding work and, getting work and bidding on loads and getting underbid. We were talking about all of that. And, before I go too much further, I'm willing to admit, I may not know jack about what I'm talking about, right? I'm a one truck, one man operation. I don't have multiple trucks, and I'm not bidding on work and bidding on, loads. I'm not doing that. I've bid on work and jobs before, but in different professions, in different industries. But like, from what I see in trucking, in order for you to be able to secure the work, you have to be, for the most part, willing to do the work, the job, either cheaper than everyone else, or you at least have to be in line with what everyone else will do the work for. The problem I have with that is when you compare that to a business that operates basically on differentiation, and that was kind of how I felt that my vacuum cleaner business operated, and that's also how a lot of digital businesses operate as well. But a business that operates on differentiation, when the client or the customer or the end user is trying to compare product to product, the product that's different, you can't compare it to another product because it's a different product. And when you got that dynamic, the consumer, they don't compare on price. No different than the reason that people bought vacuum cleaners from me and from my office wasn't because I was the cheapest. It was because I had a perceived differentiator factor in there. And, you know, when your business operates on differentiation, then you don't have to be the cheapest. You just need to be the one that's able to meet the client/customer's needs. And if the customer perceives you or your product or your business as being the one that can meet their needs, then they'll pay whatever you're asking. You can charge whatever you want to, because your product can't necessarily be compared to other products because your product is different. Whereas with a commoditization business model, again, a customer is looking at two products that have similar features and similar benefits. They're probably going to go with the cheaper product. And to me, that business model, which is, I believe that's kind of, generally speaking, how trucking operates, that business model to me is a race to the bottom. Like, I got to be willing to do the work cheaper than anybody else in order to secure the work. The problem with that business model, and again, if I'm incorrect about this, please feel free to correct me or validate what I'm saying down in the comments. But to me, from where I stand, the problem with that business model is it makes it difficult to, one, be able to secure the best workers, to be able to secure the best talent. If you want to be able to attract the best talent to help you execute your business, to help you execute your, whatever service you provide to people, you've got to be able to pay people not just market price, but you need to be able to pay well. You need to be able to pay above market price. And in order to be able to do that, there has to be profit built into the deal. You also need to be able to have the ability to service your clients, your customers' needs, not only now, but also in the future. And also, to do that, you need to have profit. So like, economic conditions and market conditions change. And because economic and market conditions change, your clients' needs could change. And so, again, you need to have the ability to service your clients' needs, your customers' needs, and not just meet their expectations, but exceed their expectations. This is how you keep clients, and this is also how you get clients to start talking. Word of mouth is real. And if all you're doing is meeting your clients' needs, you're not really tapping into word of mouth. But if you got enough profit in the deal that you can exceed your clients' needs, now you can tap into word of mouth, right? So to me, a commoditization business model makes it hard to be able to do those two things, to be able to afford the best help and to be able to put yourself in position to be able to service and meet and exceed your clients' needs now and in the future. This to me seems to be this is my overall main thing that I don't like about trucking as a business model. And again, I'm comparing that to other businesses that I've been in that don't necessarily operate on the commoditization business model, but they operate on the differentiation business model. If you're a creative individual and you have a creative business or creative service that meets customers and clients' creative needs, then you can't be compared to other products. And if you can't be compared to other products, to me, that means that you can pretty much charge whatever you want to. I listened to a guy online, Alex Hormozy. Some of you guys probably haven't heard that name before, but if you ever heard that name before, let me know that down in the comments. But I've heard Alex Hormozy talk before about running businesses and having products and providing services that have a 10x markup, which allows him to be able to attract the best help and pay the best talent to help him service his clients. And it also allows him to be able to go above and beyond in servicing his clients. And this is what allows him to be able to provide stellar service to his clients, and then clients talk. Like I said, word of mouth is real. All of that seems to be more possible to me when you're operating a business that operates as a differentiation business model as opposed to a commoditization business model. This is the main flaw, or one of the main flaws that I see in trucking as a business. So if you're one of the guys that's in trucking and you understand trucking as a business model and you got other business models to compare trucking to, please let me know your thoughts on what I'm saying. This is the conclusion I've arrived at. Trucking has been good to me, but I see this as an overall problem in trucking. It's gonna be hard to make profit if your whole business model is built on you doing work for cheap so that you can secure the work, or for low prices so that you're able to secure the work. Let me know your thoughts on this subject down in the comments.